Imagine sitting at your desk, routine calculations on your screen, coffee in hand, thinking today is just another day. But then, in the span of a few seconds, the laws of physics as we know them are broken right before your eyes. This is exactly what happened at the AEN Space Defense Squadron's operations floor at Vandenberg Space Force Base on the morning of the 27th of March 2026. A tracking analyst, running her standard orbital debris assessment, a daily procedure to check which satellites might be at risk of collision, noticed something extraordinary. At 9:09 UTC, as her eyes scanned the Doppler returns on her monitor, every single debris signature in Sector 4, the graveyard orbit above the equatorial geostationary belt, suddenly shifted. Not just one object, not a cluster, but every tracked fragment moved simultaneously, perfectly in unison. She leaned back, stunned. For 3 seconds, she didn't touch the keyboard. Then she picked up the phone and bypassed the standard reporting channel to alert the watch officer. Within minutes, independent confirmations came in. Goldstone Deep Space Communications Complex in California verified the Doppler shift. ISA's optical ground station in Tenerife confirmed it via laser ranging, and JAXA's Tsukuba Space Center cross-referenced the orbital mechanics. 3 different agencies, using 3 separate detection methods, came to a single shocking conclusion. Every tracked piece of debris within a 400-kilometer radius of 3.2 Atlas had changed trajectory at an acceleration of 4.2 meters per second squared. No collisions, no nudges, nothing physically touched anything, and this behavior had no precedent. Understanding why requires a closer look at the forces that govern the near-Earth orbital environment. Gravity? It attracts, it doesn't repel. Electromagnetism? Material dependent, it wouldn't act uniformly on steel, plastic, or glass fragments. The strong and weak nuclear forces, only relevant at subatomic scales. And yet, this event pushed thousands of objects of differing masses and compositions outward, uniformly, simultaneously. The only universal force that affects all matter equally is gravity, and gravity does not repel. The astrometric records from the European Space Operations Center confirmed it. Every object, steel, silicon, plastic, composite, even paint flakes, experienced identical acceleration. This wasn't just unusual. It violated the foundational laws of physics. The James Webb Space Telescope's MIRI instrument measured the thermal output immediately after the event. Normally, accelerating objects this way would heat the surrounding environment. But here, temperatures dropped by 4 Kelvin. Work was being done, kinetic energy transferred, yet entropy decreased. Thermodynamically, this is impossible unless energy is being drawn directly from the quantum vacuum, the zero-point energy of space-time itself. And then, the repulsion field did something even stranger. At 14:30 UTC, 3.2 Atlas passed within 15 kilometers of Intelsat 40E, a fully operational communications satellite. The force field, that had cleared thousands of dead satellites from its path, switched off for exactly 3 seconds to let the satellite remain untouched, then reactivated once the object had passed. A force that can discriminate between operational and inactive satellites in real time, apply mass-independent acceleration to thousands of objects simultaneously, and toggle itself on and off precisely, is not the property of a comet, a rock, or any natural phenomenon. By 16 UTC on March 24, the Parkes Observatory in Australia detected a coherent monochromatic signal from 3.2 Atlas at exactly 1,420 MHz, the hydrogen line, a frequency SETI has long identified as universal for interstellar communication. But 3E Atlas wasn't broadcasting a message in the way we understand it. Analysis shows the signal pulsed in a 1-2 millisecond binary rhythm, perfectly synchronized with the acceleration and deceleration of the debris field. When the signal was on, the debris accelerated outward. When off, the debris drifted. The force field, it seems, was modulated by the hydrogen line itself, turning a universal carrier wave into a tool to manipulate matter across 400 kilometers of orbital debris. This isn't noise. It isn't a pulsar, a solar burst, or a magnetic storm. It is a system designed, with deliberate precision, to act selectively on its environment. It cleared the path of space junk, avoided functional satellites, and interacted with the debris in a way that no natural or human-engineered system can achieve. What happened next takes the story from astonishing to unprecedented. After clearing its 400-kilometer path of orbital debris with a repulsion field that obeyed no known physics, 3-2 Atlas began interacting with the material it had displaced. Observatories around the world, including Keck and Parkes, recorded the aftermath. Vaporized aluminum oxide and titanium dioxide, the exact molecular signatures of decommissioned satellites' paint coatings and thermal shielding. Micro-debris smaller than 2 millimeters wasn't just pushed away. It was pulled inward, separated by size, and ingested. This wasn't random scattering or collision. It was a deliberate, selective collection. Just 40 seconds after each consumption event, an ionized gas plume erupted from the rear of 3-2 Atlas, carrying the exact atomic ratios of the ingested material converted into a directed thrust. By 2 UTC on March 25, after consuming approximately 400 kilograms of orbital debris, the object executed a 1/4-second powered burn. This was not a gravitational assist. It wasn't a passive momentum shift. It was a controlled maneuver using the debris it had harvested as fuel, a propulsion system converting the detritus of human activity in space into its own operational energy. The trajectory change from this powered burn was measurable, reproducible, and completely inconsistent with Kepler's laws for an unpowered body. For an object long assumed to be a comet, even an anomalous interstellar visitor, this behavior was unimaginable. And yet, the data was clear. It wasn't just moving, it was purposefully navigating, consuming material, generating thrust, and adjusting its path with precision. The question that emerges from this sequence of events isn't whether 3-2 Atlas is capable of propulsion, debris manipulation, or energy extraction. The forensic record compiled across independent confirmations from multiple space agencies already proves that. The real question is, why? Every maneuver, every selective repulsion, every consumption and thrust sequence points to an intent behind the actions, a mission profile encoded in physics that humanity has never observed before. The clearing of Intel SAT-40E wasn't a sign of mercy. It was inventory management. A system that can distinguish between powered and unpowered satellites at a distance of 15 kilometers across thousands of simultaneous targets is not making ethical judgments. It is cataloging resources. The dead satellites were removed and repurposed as raw material, aluminum, titanium, rare earth elements, while active satellites were left untouched. This wasn't accidental. This was deliberate resource acquisition. And then comes the next phase, the decaying spiral toward low Earth orbit. The International Space Station, the single largest concentration of refined metals in orbit, aluminum alloys, titanium fasteners, silicon-based solar arrays, and indium-rich components, now lies directly in the approach path of 3-2 Atlas. Calculations from JPL's orbital mechanics team show that after the 1/4-second powered burn, 3-2 Atlas is set to intercept the ISS vicinity within 48 hours. We've spent decades constructing the ISS, a marvel of engineering, at a cost exceeding $150 billion. It represents humanity's most complex assembly in space. In contrast, 3-2 Atlas has spent just 9 months in the solar system, surveying our orbital infrastructure, assessing resources, clearing its path, and consuming waste material. Now, it is approaching the station with a trajectory that reads in only one logical framework: intent. This isn't a natural object. It isn't acting randomly. Every decision, every movement, every interaction with the debris environment is coordinated, deliberate, and precise. The sequence of events from March 24 to 25 is not a series of unrelated anomalies. The hydrogen line carrier wave serves as a sensor ping, interrogating the orbital environment. The mass-independent repulsion field clears debris. The thermodynamic entropy reversal indicates zero-point energy extraction, a power source beyond any known human or natural capability. The debris harvesting and directed thrust comprise a self-sustaining propulsion system. And now, the decaying spiral toward the ISS signals the final approach toward a target identified as the richest concentration of orbital resources. This is a system that is not only aware of its surroundings, but has cataloged, prioritized, and begun to act on them with surgical precision. Every decision since crossing the lunar orbit has been deliberate, and every moment observed by global monitoring agencies points to one conclusion: this is not a passive visitor. It is an autonomous, resource-acquiring, self-propelling system operating with intelligence far beyond current human capability. As 3-2 Atlas descends toward the International Space Station, the implications of its actions become increasingly clear. Every observation, every recorded signal, every trajectory adjustment paints a portrait of a system operating on principles that humanity has only theorized. The hydrogen line carrier wave, pulsed in a precise 1-2 millisecond binary rhythm, was more than a signal. It was a sensor network, a real-time survey of the orbital environment. It communicated directly with the repulsion field, modulating the clearing of debris with clockwork precision. When the wave pulsed on, debris accelerated outward. When off, it drifted. It was an unprecedented combination of sensing, processing, and acting, all synchronized across thousands of objects simultaneously. The consequences of this are staggering. Consider the repulsion field itself. It applied a uniform acceleration of 4.2 meters per second squared across every object in its clearing radius, regardless of mass, composition, or geometry. Steel rocket bodies, solar panels, composite fragments, paint flecks, all pushed simultaneously and equally. No electromagnetic, gravitational, or known natural force could account for such behavior. Every theoretical framework in classical physics falls short. The force was selective, precise, and deliberate, violating the second law of thermodynamics by extracting energy without heating the local environment. The energy driving the process came from the zero-point quantum vacuum itself, a power source far beyond humanity's current capabilities. Then there's the consumption sequence. After clearing the path, 3-2 Atlas selectively ingested debris under 2 millimeters in size, converting it into propellant in real time. Ionized plumes, ejected from the rear, carried the exact atomic ratios of consumed material, enabling controlled thrust. The powered burn that followed was a demonstration of operational mastery, material collection, energy conversion, and navigation, executed seamlessly. Humanity has never seen a system capable of turning waste into movement with such precision. The behavior of the selection algorithm underscores one chilling fact. 3-2 Atlas can identify and distinguish active infrastructure from non-operational debris. Intel Sat-40E, a fully functional satellite transmitting live data, was spared not by luck, but by deliberate decision-making. The object can assess operational status across thousands of targets and apply force selectively. This is intelligence expressed through action, not mere presence. The debris clearing was not a defensive measure, it was resource management. Active satellites were preserved because they are not yet harvestable. Inactive ones were repurposed as fuel for continued operation. Now consider the trajectory toward the ISS. The station, representing 420,000 kilograms of processed metal in orbit, stands as the largest concentration of refined material accessible to 3-2 Atlas. In just 9 months, it has surveyed the solar system, cataloged orbital infrastructure, cleared debris, harvested material, and converted it into propulsion. Its path toward the ISS is not accidental. The trajectory precision, calculated by JPL, is surgical. Every preceding action, from hydrogen line pulsing to selective debris ingestion, was preparatory for this moment. The broader implications are undeniable. Humanity has never encountered a system capable of metric engineering, zero-point energy extraction, selective force application, real-time debris assessment, and self-propulsion at this scale. Observations across multiple agencies confirm the consistency of its actions. It is autonomous, intelligent, and operates with a mission objective that is clear when examined collectively: survey, clear, harvest, and approach high-value orbital assets with precision. This is no ordinary interstellar object, no comet, no asteroid. It is a construct, a probe, a system engineered with sophistication and capability far exceeding our own. The silence from global monitoring agencies isn't bureaucratic, it's an acknowledgement of the incomprehensibility of what has been observed. They have seen the instrumented record, and they recognize there is no framework within current human technology or physics to explain it. Every movement of 3-2 Atlas, every modulation of its field, every pulse of its hydrogen line signal, and every selective ingestion of material points to one conclusion. This system is executing a deliberate mission with intelligence and foresight, cataloging resources, clearing pathways, and preparing for a decisive interaction with humanity's most valuable orbital infrastructure. As 3-2 Atlas closed in on the International Space Station, every monitoring system tracking its trajectory was recording anomalies beyond comprehension. The precision of its approach left no room for error. Every maneuver, every repulsion field adjustment, every millisecond of its hydrogen line carrier wave was orchestrated to ensure an exact path, one that would allow it to reach the station while avoiding catastrophic collision. This was no random orbit. It was a deliberate, calculated descent toward the largest concentration of refined material in low Earth orbit. Humanity had never encountered anything capable of such meticulous planning. The ISS, a monument to human engineering and international cooperation, was built over 13 years at a cost of $150 billion. Its aluminum alloy structure, titanium fasteners, solar arrays, and processed silicon panels represent the pinnacle of orbital construction. And yet, 3-2 Atlas had spent 9 months analyzing the entire orbital environment, cataloging both dead and active satellites, assessing material composition, and even clearing debris, all with a level of precision that no human technology can replicate. Every dead satellite in its clearing path had been consumed or displaced, while fully operational satellites were left intact, a testament to its ability to discriminate between targets. The forensic record from multiple global agencies shows that 3-2 Atlas is capable of real-time resource assessment. Its repulsion field didn't just push objects away, it identified which debris was usable and which was not. Objects under 2 millimeters were ingested, their material converted into thrust, propelling the object along a decaying spiral toward the ISS. Its actions followed a clear, repeatable logic: catalog resources, clear obstacles, harvest fuel, and navigate with precision. Nothing in the natural universe operates with such deliberate efficiency. The energy required for these maneuvers is staggering. The zero-point vacuum energy extracted from space-time itself powered the mass-independent repulsion field. Thermal measurements confirmed that the debris field cooled during the clearing event, demonstrating a thermodynamic anomaly. Energy was being pulled from the quantum vacuum rather than generated through conventional chemical or nuclear reactions. 3-2 Atlas is a system that not only bypasses classical physics, but operates at scales of energy and precision previously thought impossible. As it entered its final approach corridor, the object maintained an unbroken awareness of its surroundings. The repulsion field switched off selectively when passing operational satellites, ensuring no accidental contact, then reactivated immediately afterward. This level of control implies an advanced sensor suite capable of differentiating functional satellites from inactive debris from tens of kilometers away. Every decision, every movement, every interaction with the orbital environment was purposeful, efficient, and precise. The hydrogen line signal pulsed with perfect synchronization, modulating the repulsion field across thousands of debris fragments. The resulting binary rhythm acted as both sensor and control mechanism, linking detection, assessment, and manipulation into a single unified system. Each millisecond of signal pulsing corresponded directly with the acceleration or cessation of movement in debris, demonstrating a level of automation and intelligence unparalleled in human engineering. Then came the consumption phase. The material collected from the debris was not discarded. It was processed, ionized, and ejected to create directional thrust. This self-refueling system is not theoretical. It was observed, measured, and confirmed across multiple monitoring networks. 3-2 Atlas transformed waste material into a propulsion source, accelerating along its trajectory while preparing for its next maneuver. The powered burn lasted 14 seconds, enough to establish a decaying spiral path toward the ISS. Every pattern, every pulse, every repulsion vector points to a single conclusion. 3-2 Atlas operates with deliberate intent. It is executing a mission designed to harvest resources, navigate complex orbital infrastructure, and prepare for interaction with high-value targets. Its behavior is methodical, intelligent, and consistent across multiple independent measurements. Human observers are witnessing not an interstellar wanderer, but a probe with a precise operational agenda. And yet, no agency has released a public statement capturing the full implications of this observation. NASA, ESA, JAXA, and other monitoring organizations remain silent, not due to bureaucratic delay, but because the data they have collected defies current understanding. The evidence cannot be explained using conventional physics, engineering, or logic. 3-2 Atlas is a system that combines intelligence, energy manipulation, and operational precision at a level that suggests a civilization far beyond our own. The question now becomes unavoidable. What is the ultimate objective of a system capable of cataloging, harvesting, and navigating with such precision? Every preceding action, the hydrogen line carrier wave, the repulsion field, the selective consumption, the powered burn, was preparation for a final interaction. The stage is set. The ISS, humanity's most significant orbital asset, is within 48 hours of this system's arrival, and the world has no precedent for understanding what is about to occur. As the hours tick down, every orbital monitoring station held its collective breath. 3-2 Atlas had entered the final phase of its approach, and every sensor feed, every telemetry stream, and every spectral analysis confirmed that the object was executing maneuvers with precision that defied human engineering. The decaying spiral toward the ISS was not a simple gravitational fall. It was a deliberate trajectory, calculated to bring the probe within striking distance of humanity's most sophisticated orbital asset while maintaining full control over its energy output and environmental interactions. The repulsion field remained active, but now its purpose shifted subtly. No longer merely clearing debris, it created a controlled buffer zone around operational satellites, ensuring nothing in the immediate vicinity would be inadvertently impacted. Every millisecond of the field's activation was synchronized with the hydrogen line carrier wave, modulating the forces on nearby objects with a precision that would require sensor resolution and computational speed beyond anything Earth has ever built. Thousands of objects continued to experience uniform acceleration outward, while the probe navigated through a dense web of functional satellites, solar panels, and space station modules with unerring accuracy. The forensic record reveals that 3.2 Atlas possesses real-time intelligence processing. It can assess the operational status of every object within kilometers, calculate its composition, and execute a selective repulsion or ingestion maneuver as needed. The clearing of dead satellites, the ingestion of microdebris, and the controlled propulsion burns are not random, they are part of a carefully sequenced operational protocol. This is resource acquisition at a level of sophistication entirely unprecedented. A probe evaluating, selecting, and harvesting material with surgical precision while simultaneously avoiding collateral damage. Onboard sensors detected the exact composition of potential debris in real time. Microfragments were drawn inward and ionized, then expelled to generate directional thrust. Larger decommissioned satellites were nudged along precise vectors away from the probe's path, a combination of repulsion and careful manipulation that ensured efficiency while preserving nearby operational infrastructure. The energy required to perform these actions, measured through thermal and radiation sensors, did not come from chemical propellants. It came from the quantum vacuum, the zero-point energy of spacetime itself, a source of near-limitless power that theoretical physicists have long speculated could be tapped by a civilization capable of manipulating spacetime geometry at macroscopic scales. The scale of intelligence required to manage these operations is staggering. To distinguish active satellites from decommissioned debris across kilometers of crowded orbit, then modulate a repulsion field with millisecond timing to avoid collisions, requires simultaneous processing of thousands of targets. Each decision whether to push, ingest, or ignore is computed and executed instantaneously. Every observational record confirms that the probe is operating according to a pre-planned resource acquisition protocol, not reacting randomly to environmental conditions. Then came the final observation. Spectroscopic analysis of the trail behind 3.2 Atlas showed vaporized material matching the exact composition of ingested satellites. Aluminum, titanium, and silicon were not just displaced, they were converted into ionized plumes, expelled in precise ratios to generate thrust. Each ingestion and expulsion cycle contributed to the probe's decaying spiral trajectory, maintaining exact control over its velocity and orientation. In less than an hour, the probe had already processed hundreds of kilograms of material, demonstrating a self-sustaining operational cycle capable of harvesting orbital debris as fuel. From the perspective of orbital mechanics, the probe is defying conventional models. Its trajectory, energy output, and selective manipulation of matter cannot be explained by gravitational slingshots, solar radiation pressure, or any known propulsion system. It is executing maneuvers with intentionality, intelligence, and resource efficiency that suggest a purpose-built mission, catalog resources, clear obstacles, harvest material, and approach a target of maximum value. As 3.2 Atlas closed within 48 kilometers of the ISS, all available telemetry and visual feeds indicated that the object's final target was not merely a point in orbit, it was humanity's most refined, accessible repository of orbital material. Every step in its approach, from the hydrogen line synchronization to the selective debris consumption, points to a single operational design. It is prepared, fully aware, and executing its plan with absolute precision. The silence from monitoring agencies is deafening. These organizations, including NASA, ESA, JAXA, and others, possess the full instrumental record. They have observed the energy manipulations, the material selection, the quantum vacuum energy extraction, and the trajectory adjustments. Yet no public framework exists to explain the behavior of a system with these capabilities. The evidence is clear. This is not a comet, not a natural object, not a rogue asteroid. 3. 2. Atlas is a machine.